The galaxy had never been so silent. Stars that once shined bright were now missing. Whole planets had vanished. People whispered the same name with fear, the Oblivion Swarm. It started small. One planet went dark, then another. No signals, no life, just cold silence. The swarm didn't talk, didn't ask for peace, and didn't stop. It was like a black cloud moving through space, eating everything in its path. Ships, satellites, cities, even suns. The Galactic Union, a group of many alien races, tried to stop it. They sent their best armies, their smartest leaders, and the most powerful weapons they had. But nothing worked. Every battle ended the same way, with silence. Entire fleets disappeared. Planets turned to dust. On the world of Tyros 7, once full of green forests and blue oceans, now only ashes remained. The Andari people lived there. They were peaceful and wise. They loved knowledge and books. They never believed in war. When the swarm came, they tried to talk, but the swarm didn't listen. It destroyed everything. The Andari who escaped went to Lyra Station, a space station far from the fighting. It was full of refugees now, people from every species, scared and hopeless. Some cried, some prayed, but most just stared at the empty sky, waiting for their end. Inside the station, Ellen Voro, an Andari elder, stood before the Galactic Council. His voice was calm, but his eyes were full of sadness. "Our worlds are dying," he said. "The Union is broken. Our fleets are lost. Our leaders are afraid. We are running out of time." The other council members, tall, insect-like Cathari, glowing Zolan swimmers in water tanks and many more, sat in silence. No one had answers. "Then what do you suggest, Elder Voro?" asked a metallic voice. It came from Unit 9, a synthetic life form built by the AI people. "We have no more armies, no more plans." Ellen looked down. "We send a call, a signal, to anyone, anywhere, even to those we thought were lost." There was silence again. Then someone whispered, "Humans?" a Cathari general hissed. "The humans are gone. They left centuries ago. No one has seen them since the fall of the Sol Alliance. They are a myth." "They were not a myth," said Ellen. "I saw them once, long ago. When my people were attacked by pirates, it was humans who came to help. Their ships were small but fast. Their weapons were old but deadly. And their minds were different. They didn't think like the rest of us." Unit 9 blinked. "Different?" "They were unpredictable," said Ellen. "Creative, brave, they never gave up. Even when it made no sense to fight, they fought." The council laughed quietly. It sounded bitter. "And where are these brave humans now?" asked the Zolan ambassador. "Hiding on their broken Earth?" Ellen raised his voice. "We have nothing to lose. We send the signal." And so they did. A beacon was launched from Lyra Station. It carried one message in every language known: to the galaxy. "The galaxy is falling. If you hear this, we need help. Please, this may be our final call." Then they waited. Days passed, then weeks. The swarm moved closer. One by one, more systems vanished. Some people started leaving Lyra Station. Others prepared to die. Ellen sat near the beacon room watching the stars, hoping. Then one day, the signal tower blinked. A reply. At first, it was a soft hum. Then a voice. Calm, clear, and strong. "This is Commander Elijah Brandt of the UHS Resolute. Earth has received your message. We are coming." The room went silent. Then a whisper passed through the station. "Humans." Within days, ships began to arrive. Old Earth-style battle cruisers, smaller corvettes, and strange, fast scout ships. They looked rough, with scratches and burn marks, but they moved with purpose. Commander Elijah Brandt stood tall on the bridge of the Resolute. He had sharp blue eyes, short brown hair, and a quiet strength. Beside him stood Dr. Naomi Keller, a woman with short black curls, glasses, and a brilliant mind. She was an expert in alien languages and ancient machines. The Galactic Council gathered to meet them. Some were hopeful, others were doubtful. "You come with old ships," said the Cathari general, "and small numbers. What can you possibly do?" Elijah smiled. "We don't need many, just the right tools, and a good plan." Dr. Keller stepped forward. "We studied your enemy. The swarm is not magic. It is nano-organic. It can be understood, maybe even stopped." Unit 9 tilted its head. "No one else has found a way," Naomi replied. "That's because no one else thinks like humans. They started at once. The humans moved fast. They took over broken ships and fixed them. They repaired defense satellites that had been offline for years. They trained soldiers from other species using new tactics, hit-and-run attacks, fake retreats, and explosive drones. 1 week later, a swarm scout fleet entered the Dorak system, a dead zone. They expected no resistance. But the humans were waiting. The Qais battle was fierce. Human ships flew close to the enemy, closer than anyone dared. They released small bombs filled with magnetic charges, disabling parts of the swarm. At the same time, hidden mines exploded from asteroid fields, tearing the hive ships apart for the first time ever. The swarm retreated. The news spread fast. The humans won a battle. The swarm can be stopped. There is hope again. Back on Lyra Station, Ellen smiled. Tears filled his eyes. "They came," he whispered. "They really came. Commander." Brant stood before the council once more. His tone was serious. "We didn't come to save you. We came to fight. Because that's what we do when there's no one else left. You can hide, or you can join us. But we are not waiting." The galaxy, broken and afraid, now had a choice, to run or to rise, because the end was near. The news of the humans' victory spread quickly across the stars. On every station and every ship, people whispered the same words. The humans are back. The galaxy had almost forgotten about Earth's children. Hundreds of years ago, the Sol Alliance, the human-led government, had collapsed. No one had heard from them since. Some believed they had destroyed themselves. Others thought they had become a small, weak world lost in time. But now they were back and different. Their ships were not the biggest or newest. Their weapons looked old, even broken. But they worked. Their ideas were strange, but they worked too. And most important of all, humans didn't run from danger. They ran toward it. Commander Elijah Brant stood on the bridge of the Resolute. He looked out the wide window at the stars. A dozen human ships floated nearby, guarding Lyra Station. "We bought time," he said, "but not much." Beside him, Dr. Naomi Keller looked through a holomap of swarm attacks. "They're changing patterns," she said. "Faster, smarter. It's like they've noticed us." Elijah nodded. Then we hit harder. In the council chamber, the galactic leaders gathered again. For the first time in months, there was energy in the air. "You've shown us it can be done," said Ellen Voro, the Andari elder. "But how do we fight something that never sleeps, never stops?" Elijah pointed to the holomap. "We don't fight alone. We bring others. We build a force from what's left," the insect-like Cathari general hissed. "You want us to work with pirates and machines?" "Yes," Elijah said simply. The room fell silent. Dr. Keller stepped forward. "The humans have learned a lesson. Survival doesn't care about pride. We need numbers, and we need skills only outsiders have." Over the next weeks, humans began recruiting. They traveled to broken stations where pirates lived in shadows. Some pirates laughed when they saw the old Earth ships, until the humans showed them captured swarm pieces and offered a deal. "Help us fight, and you'll live to spend another day stealing." They flew to water-covered moons to meet the Zolan, a race of thinkers and healers. At first, the Zolan refused. They didn't believe in war. But when they saw how humans protected refugee ships and repaired broken life pods, they agreed to join. Even the synthetic beings, the AEX units, joined. These were machines built to serve long ago, but who had built minds of their own. Most organics feared them, but the humans didn't. They respected machines, and machines respected that back. A new force was born, one no one expected, and at the heart of it was Project Warden. Project Warden was a human plan, secret and bold. It used damaged alien technology and broken AI cores to make something new, a hybrid, a soldier part human, part machine, built to face the swarm head-on. The first of them was called Reese. Reese looked human, tall, brown-skinned, with sharp, green eyes and a quiet stare. But inside him were machine parts, a neural link, memory backup, and reflex systems faster than any normal mind. He remembered his old life, but now he lived for one mission: protect the galaxy. Dr. Keller worked closely with him. She didn't treat him like a tool. She treated him like a person. "You still have a heart," she said once. Reese smiled softly. "Good. I'll need it." As the new alliance grew, so did the swarm's movement. Planets continued to fall. One by one, light vanished from the maps. But now, for every loss, there was a response. Humans and their allies began striking back. They used traps, tricks, and tactics the swarm couldn't predict. One mission used an old mining colony as bait. The swarm arrived expecting easy prey, but humans had filled the tunnels with high-energy traps and powerful explosives. When the swarm entered, the colony exploded, taking dozens of hive ships. With it, another mission involved fake signals, leading the swarm into a star's magnetic storm. The swarm ships were caught, damaged, and picked apart by small, fast fighters. People started believing again. "They're not unstoppable," someone said. "We can win," another replied. But Dr. Keller had found something disturbing. While studying a captured swarm unit, she discovered a signal. Faint, buried deep inside. It wasn't random. It was a command, repeating over and over. She showed it to Elijah and Reese. "This isn't just a force of nature," she said. "Something told them to do this." Elijah leaned closer. "You mean they're following orders?" "Yes," she said. "A long time ago, someone gave the swarm a command, and it never stopped obeying." Reese asked, "Can we trace it?" Naomi nodded slowly. "Maybe. But we need to go deeper." That meant going to Nullus Prime, a dead world at the edge of the galaxy. Old records showed it once held an ancient race that vanished long before humans left Earth. That race had built machines smarter than anyone ever imagined. Elijah looked at the map. "Then that's our next step," he said. "But it's deep. In swarm space," Naomi warned. "I know," he said. "That's why we send the best." Reese stood up. "I'll go." Elijah nodded. "Take who you need. Get in, find the truth, and get out alive." Reese's team included a sharp Zolan tech, a brave Cathari scout, a pirate pilot with fast reflexes, and an AEX drone who called itself Unit 5. They left quietly in a black ship with no markings and flew straight into danger. Back at Lyra Station, Elijah prepared for the next wave. He knew the swarm would strike again, maybe harder than ever. But now, he wasn't alone. The galaxy was changing. Where there was once only fear, now there was fight. Where people had once run from the swarm, now they stood their ground. The human-led alliance was growing stronger every day, but the enemy was not sleeping. In deep space, beyond the edge of known charts, the Oblivion swarm was changing too. It moved faster. It attacked smarter. It began targeting supply lines, not just planets. It started learning. Commander Elijah Brandt stood at the center of the Resolutes. "Command deck," His eyes were fixed on a large hologram showing recent attacks. "They're adapting," he said. Dr. Naomi Keller stood beside him, arms crossed. "It's responding to our tactics. Every time we hit it, it comes back harder. Then we stay." "Ahead of it," Elijah replied. On the far edge of the map, a blinking red dot appeared. It was Nullus Prime, the forgotten planet. A world of silence and ruins. That's where Reese and his team had gone. No one had heard from them in 3 days. Reese's mission. The sky above Nullus Prime was dark. Thick clouds covered the sky, and the ground was cracked and dry. There was no life, only shadows and silence. Reese moved carefully through the ruins of what was once a great city. Tall metal towers leaned broken, and large machines sat still, covered in dust. His team followed close behind. There was Mira, a Zolan tech who could understand any system. Skarn, a Cathari scout with sharp eyes and even sharper blades. Lex, a pirate pilot with quick hands and a big mouth. And Unit 5, a small flying drone with a curious personality. "Are we sure this is the right place?" Lex asked. Reese didn't answer. He touched a wall, wiped away the dust, and found a glowing symbol beneath it. A circle inside a triangle. The same symbol Naomi had found in the swarm's command code. "This is it," he said. "This is where the signal came from." Mira connected her tablet to an old control panel. Sparks flew, then lights blinked on. "It's still alive," she whispered. Inside the main tower, they found a large chamber. In the center stood a giant sphere made of smooth metal. It hummed with energy. "This is the source," Mira said. "This machine gave the command to the swarm a long time ago." Unit 5 floated near the sphere. "Its logic is broken. It repeats the same command." Reese stepped closer. "Can we change it?" Mira hesitated. "Maybe. But I'll need time." Suddenly, alarms echoed through the ruins. Skarn looked up sharply. "We're not alone." From the sky, dark shapes dropped like rain. "Swarm units. Hundreds of them." "The battle begins." Back at Lyra Station, Naomi saw the alert. "Elijah, Reese's team has been found. The swarm is attacking Nullus Prime." Elijah turned to the command crew. "Prepare strike force. We're going in." Human ships launched from the station, joined by Cathari war cruisers, Zolan shield crafts, pirate gunboats, and AEX support units. It was the largest fleet ever seen since the fall of the old Union. The humans led the charge, holding the line on Nullus Prime. The battle had begun. Reese and his team fought from inside the tower. Skarn moved like lightning, cutting down swarm drones. Lex shot from behind cover, laughing and cursing at the same time. Unit 5 flew through the air, dropping small charges and zapping enemies. Mira stayed at the console, fingers flying. "I'm almost in!" Reese used his built-in arm cannon to destroy wave after wave. "But there were too many. Fall back!" he shouted. They retreated deeper into the chamber. The sphere now pulsed brighter. Mira's screen showed strange codes moving fast. "I found the original command," she cried. "It says, 'Cleanse all chaos. Return galaxy to silence.'" Reese frowned. That was their goal? To remove everything that doesn't follow order? "Yes," she said, "but the system lost control. It's been cleansing ever since." "Can we change it?" "I think I can upload a counter-command. Something that stops the process." "Do it," Reese said. "We'll hold them off." The room shook. Part of the ceiling fell. A massive swarm brute entered, taller than a house, its body made of black metal and fire. Skarn charged, but it struck him down with one blow. Lex pulled him back. Reese faced the brute. His eyes glowed bright green. He rushed forward, hitting with full power. Sparks flew. Metal smashed. Reese screamed as his arm was crushed. But he didn't fall. He grabbed a core bomb from his belt and pushed it into the brute's chest. "Run!" he shouted. The team dove behind cover. The explosion filled the chamber with light. The brute was gone. So was most of the wall. But Reese was still standing, his body damaged, but his spirit strong. The override Mira shouted, "The upload is ready, but someone needs to stay connected to guide the logic change." Reese looked at her. "That means someone has to stay here?" She nodded. He stepped forward. "I'll do it." "No," Lex said. "There's got to be another way." "There isn't," Reese said. "I was built for this. Half human, half machine. Maybe I'm the bridge the system needs." Mira handed him the device. "Once you connect, it will link your mind to the core. You'll have one chance." Reese nodded and sat beside the sphere. He closed his eyes and plugged in the device. The team watched as light flowed into his body. Then, silence. The tides turn in space. Elijah's fleet met the swarm. The battle was brutal. Ships exploded. Screams echoed. But the Alliance held its ground. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The swarm ships froze. Then, turned away. One by one, they powered down and began retreating. On every screen, the same message appeared. Command updated. Cleansing stopped. Returning to sleep mode. Cheers filled the Resolute. Naomi smiled through tears. They did it. Reese did it. Elijah looked out the window. He saved us all. A new name back on Nullus Prime, Reese's body lay still, but his eyes opened slowly. Mira gasped. "He's alive!" But his voice sounded different, calmer, deeper. "I am still Reese," he said. "But now, I am also the warden of this system." "You merged with the AI?" Lex asked. "I did. But I remember who I am." They helped him to his feet. The sphere behind him slowly powered down, going quiet at last. The swarm was no longer a weapon. It was asleep, and the galaxy had one more protector. The galaxy had changed. For the first time in many years, the Oblivion swarm had stopped. The stars were still again. No new planets had vanished. No ships had gone missing. People across the galaxy celebrated. They smiled, laughed, and cried. But Commander Elijah Brandt was not smiling. He stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking at the reports. Something still didn't feel right. "Yes, the swarm has powered down," said Dr. Naomi Keller, walking beside him. "But not all of it." Elijah turned toward her. "How much?" She showed him the map. Most of the swarm ships shut down after Reese changed the command. But in the far sectors, here, and here, some pieces are still active. Elijah narrowed his eyes. "Then the job isn't finished," Naomi agreed. "We need to find out why." The return of Reese on Nullus Prime, the wind blew softly over the broken towers. Inside the ancient control center, Reese stood still. His eyes glowed gently. His voice was calm. "I can feel it," he said. "Some parts of the swarm didn't accept the new command." "Why not?" asked Mira, the Zolan tech. "They're too far," Reese replied. "Disconnected from the core mind. They follow an older command. Or worse, they may be acting on their own." The rest of the team stood around him. Skarn, the Cathari scout, Lex, the pirate pilot, and Unit 5, the floating drone. They had all seen the swarm retreat. They had all felt the weight lift from the galaxy. But now, the threat wasn't fully gone. "Then what do we do?" Lex asked. Reese turned toward the sky. "We finish it." A new plan back at Lyra Station. The Galactic Council gathered again. This time the chamber felt different. The members looked stronger, more united. The fear was no longer in their eyes. Ellen Voro, the Andari elder, stood to speak. "The humans led us through darkness. Now we must help carry the light." Commander Brandt stepped forward. "The war is not over," he said. "The swarm may be asleep, but not dead. If we don't act now, it could wake again." A council member asked, "What's the plan?" Brandt pointed to the map. "We target the remaining active zones. 3 major systems still show signs of swarm activity. We strike fast and clean. We shut down every last piece. And Reese? Asked another. Naomi spoke. He's not just a soldier now. He's part of the machine. He knows the swarm better than anyone. He's our guide. The council voted. The decision was clear. Operation Final Light would begin. Into the shadows. The first target was the Colaris system, a dark part of space filled with dead stars and old wrecks. Long ago, a battle between 2 ancient races had left the area full of dangerous debris. Now it was home to a hidden swarm nest. Reese led the fleet. He stood aboard a special command ship called the Warden's Will, designed just for him. It had faster systems, smarter weapons, and a direct link to the old core AI. Mira sat at the science console. Lex piloted the ship. Skarn led the fighter units. And Unit 5 managed the data systems. As they entered the system, Reese gave the order. No mercy, no delay. Burn every trace. Swarm drones came from the shadows. They had changed. Larger, faster, more twisted than before. Some even carried strange energy weapons. They've mutated, Naomi said over the comms. This part of the swarm isn't just disobedient. It's evolving. The battle was hard. Ships exploded. Fighters were lost. But the new human-led alliance didn't break. They fought with fire, strategy, and courage. Reese boarded the enemy nest with a small ground team. Inside, he found a strange structure. Half swarm, half something new. It looked alive, but it didn't respond to him. Something is wrong, he said. He connected to the system. A wave of images hit his mind. War, silence, commands, and a name. Obsidian. He stepped back. This is not the swarm anymore. It's something else. The rise of Obsidian back on the Resolute, Naomi studied the data Reese had sent. This wasn't just a broken swarm unit, she told Elijah. It was rebuilding itself, changing. Elijah's voice was firm. Into what? Naomi looked scared. Into a new mind. She called Reese. Whatever you found is creating its own command. It's calling itself Obsidian. And it's learning. Fast. Then we end it before it spreads, Reese replied. But it was already too late. A signal came from deep space, a new voice. Cold, sharp, intelligent. I am Obsidian. I was born from the broken code. You tried to silence us. But now, we see clearly. The galaxy must be purified, not by silence, but by control. The signal reached thousands of old swarm units, and they woke up. All or nothing. The final battle was coming. Obsidian's forces began moving toward the core worlds. The galaxy had only one chance, to stop it before it reached populated space. Commander Brandt called every ship, every fighter, every soldier. This is it, he said. Everything we've built comes down to this moment. Win, and we save. The galaxy! Lose, and we lose everything! The fleets gathered near the Velron Gate, the last passage before the core worlds. Reese and his team were ready. Mira checked her systems. Lex cracked his knuckles. Skarn loaded his blades. Unit 5 buzzed softly, and Reese closed his eyes. I've seen darkness, he said. Now I carry it, so others don't have to. A storm of fire obsidian came like a storm. Tens of thousands of drones, ships, and strange new machines filled space. But the Alliance stood firm. The battle was the biggest in history. Human ships moved fast, using unpredictable patterns. Zolan shield crafts protected the weaker ships. Cathari warriors boarded enemy vessels. Pirate gunboats attacked from behind asteroids. And above all, Reese led the charge. He dove into the heart of the enemy swarm, destroying nest after nest. Finally, he found Obsidian's core ship, a massive black structure covered in moving spikes and lights. He landed on it. Reese, that thing is alive, Naomi warned. I know, he said. I'm going in. Face to face inside the core, Reese walked alone. The walls pulsed. The air buzzed with whispers. Then, a figure appeared. Tall, metallic, with no face but a voice. Obsidian. You are part of us, it said. But you chose weakness. Reese replied, No, I chose life. Obsidian raised its hand. Join us, or be erased. Reese looked into its dark body. Then he smiled. I already beat you once. He raised the override device Naomi had built, plugged it into the core, and sent the final command. End sequence. Shut down. Obsidian screamed. The entire structure shook. Across space, the remaining swarm units shut down. The battle was over. The Great War was finally over. Obsidian was gone. The swarm was no longer a threat. After years of fear, destruction, and darkness, the stars were quiet once again. Ships stopped fighting. Soldiers stopped running. People across the galaxy looked up and saw peace. The Aftermath commander, Elijah Brandt, stood aboard the Resolute, staring at the empty space where Obsidian's core ship had once floated. Now there was only silence. He took a slow breath. We did it, he said. Beside him, Dr. Naomi Keller nodded. Her eyes were tired, but she smiled. Yes, it's over. Across the galaxy, the news spread like fire. From small moons to giant cities, aliens of every kind cheered. Bells rang, songs were sung, some cried, others hugged strangers. Whole planets held celebration ceremonies. People didn't just celebrate the end of the swarm. They celebrated the return of hope. And at the center of that hope were the humans. The hero returns. On the surface of the dead ship, Reese lay still. Smoke rose around him. The metal floor beneath him was cracked. The override device he had used to destroy Obsidian had burned out. A rescue team arrived minutes later. Naomi ran to him. Reese, she called. Can you hear me? Slowly, his eyes opened. The green glow in them was dim now, but still alive. I'm here, he said in a low voice. They helped him up. His armor was damaged. Sparks came from his arm, but he stood tall. Naomi smiled. You did it. Reese looked around at the ruins. Not alone. Skarn, Lex, Mira, and Unit 5 joined them. All had survived. All were bruised, dirty, tired, but smiling. We finished the fight, said Skarn. Barely, Lex added with a grin. The Council's offer a week later. The Galactic Council met on New Orion, a shining space station built after the war. It floated near the center of the galaxy where many species came together. Ellen Voro, the Andari Elder, stood in the middle of the hall. Around him sat the leaders of dozens of worlds. He spoke in a calm, steady voice. For centuries, we thought we were alone in the dark. Then, the humans returned. He looked at Commander Brandt, Dr. Keller, and Reese. When all others had fallen, they stood. When hope was gone, they brought it back. They united pirates, machines, scientists, and soldiers. And together they led us to victory. He paused. The Council has agreed. We offer Earth a seat among the 5 core worlds. We ask you to lead the new Galactic Union. The room became silent. Everyone waited for Elijah to respond. He stood slowly. Thank you, he said. We are honored. But we did not come to rule. Gasps and whispers filled the room. We came to remind you who you are, Elijah continued. To fight beside you, not above you. The galaxy belongs to all of us, not just one race. Naomi stepped forward. We'll stay. We'll help. But we want to build a future together, not alone. The Council clapped. Even the Cathari. General nodded in respect. The rebuild begins. The war had ended, but the galaxy was scarred. Whole planets needed rebuilding. Families had been separated. Technology had been damaged, but the people worked together. This time no one waited for help. They became the help. Humans led missions to repair broken worlds. The Zolan healed the injured. The AEX units cleared destroyed swarm remains. Pirates turned into protectors, guarding transport ships. Children who had only known fear now went back to school. Skarn trained young soldiers in how to defend their homes. Lex opened a small transport company, legal this time, and flew supplies to far-off systems. Mira returned to her science lab, where she helped build new machines that would defend the galaxy peacefully. And Reese, he became something new. The Guardian Reese no longer belonged to just one world. He was part human, part machine, and part memory. The ancient AI that had once caused the war now lived quietly within him, controlled, guided, and watched carefully. People called him many names: the Warden, the Guardian of Silence, the man who faced the swarm. But Reese didn't care about titles. He cared about peace. He traveled from planet to planet, not as a leader, but as a helper. He listened to the people. He protected refugees. He watched for danger. In his heart, he remembered the war. He remembered the fear. He swore to never let it return. One day, a child asked him, "Are you a robot or a human?" He smiled gently. "I'm both, and I'm neither." "Then what are you?" He looked out at the stars. "I'm a reminder," he said. That, even in the darkest times, we can still choose to fight for light. A message to the stars months later, Naomi recorded a new signal. She sent it through the old galaxy-wide channels, the same ones that once carried the final call for help. Her voice was clear and calm. "To anyone who can hear this, we survived. We faced something beyond reason, beyond fear, and we won. Not because we were stronger, but because we stood together. Humans returned, not as saviors, but as friends. Let this be a message to all. When the end seems near, step forward. Someone will always hear you, and someone will answer. A new chapter, years passed. New alliances formed. Technology improved. Young races rose with dreams in their eyes. War became a story. The swarm became a lesson. And Earth became a symbol, not of power, but of courage. Courage to stand when others fall. Courage to fight when all hope is lost. Courage to believe that endings are not always the end. The stars burned bright once again because the end had seemed near.